Hey everyone, I'm here to help you relax and drift off tonight. If you enjoy using these videos to fall asleep, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more calming content. Share where you're watching from and what time it is for you. I'd love to know. Now settle into a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's start unwinding together. Lena Everhart, a curious wanderer with a heart tuned to the magic of the natural world, had grown up on stories of this mystical forest. As a child, she listened wide-eyed to her grandmother's tales of trees that murmured lullabies and odes in the soft twilight. Now, as a young woman with an insatiable yearning for discovery, Lena felt an irresistible pull toward the unknown. One crisp autumn morning, with dew still sparkling on the grass and the sky painted in pastel hues of early dawn, Lena packed a small satchel with essentials, a journal, a worn map passed down from her ancestors, and a slender lantern, and set off to find the forest where the trees sang. Her journey began along winding country lanes bordered by ancient hedgerows. With every step, the air seemed to thrum with anticipation, as if nature itself were whispering her name. Along the way, she encountered kind souls who spoke in reverent tones about the luminous grove, each adding a piece to the tapestry of the legend. Though few had seen it with their own eyes, every account was laced with wonder. A clearing bathed in soft light, trees swaying gently to a celestial rhythm, and a pervasive sense of peace that transcended the ordinary. After days of travel, Lena finally reached the outskirts of a vast forest whose emerald canopy stretched high into the heavens. The trees here were ancient, their trunks gnarled with the wisdom of centuries, and the air was perfumed with a blend of moss, wildflowers, and the faint, indefinable scent of magic. As she stepped beneath the canopy, a hush fell over the land, a silence pregnant with expectation. Yet as the sun dipped lower in the sky, subtle vibrations in the air began to take shape in soft, resonant tones. Lena paused, heart fluttering, as she noticed the first hints of melody woven into the rustling leaves. It was not a single note, but a symphony of sounds. The delicate plucking of wind through slender branches, the low hum of ancient barks resonating like distant voices, and the occasional clear, bell-like chime from a particularly stately oak. With trembling hands, she opened her journal to record every sensation, every note that seemed to call her deeper into the heart of the forest. As twilight deepened into a star-strewn night, the forest transformed into an otherworldly stage. Lena found herself in a clearing where the trees formed a natural amphitheater. Here, the music of the forest grew richer and more complex. Each tree, from the slender birch to the mighty sequoia, contributed its own instrument-like voice. The wind carried their melodies in swirling patterns, creating harmonies that ebbed and flowed with the rhythm of the night. In the center of the clearing stood an enormous ancient tree known locally as the heartwood. Its bark was inscribed with delicate patterns that glowed faintly in the moonlight, and from its lofty branches poured a sound so pure it seemed to make the stars twinkle in time. Lena sat beneath the heartwood, closing her eyes and letting the symphony fill her being. In that moment, the boundary between herself and the forest dissolved, and she felt as if she were part of the eternal song, a note in the grand, ever-changing melody of nature. Deep in the forest's embrace, as Lena wandered along a carpet of fallen leaves illuminated by soft luminescence, she encountered a figure both mysterious and welcoming. Emerging from behind a curtain of trailing ivy was an elderly woman with silver hair and eyes that sparkled like dew on morning petals. She introduced herself as Eerie, the guardian of the grove, a keeper of secrets and lore passed down through countless generations. Eerie spoke in gentle, measured tones about the origin of the singing trees. Long ago, she explained, the forest was not merely a collection of trees, but a living entity with a soul. The trees were blessed with the gift of song by an ancient spirit of nature, Their melodies carry the memories of the earth, the stories of the wind, and the hope of every living thing. But remember, dear child, that the music of these trees is not for the ears alone. It is a language meant to be understood by the heart. Under Ariane's guidance, Lena learned to listen more deeply. Together, they sat by babbling brooks and strolled along hidden paths where the trees' song rose and fell like the cadence of a long-forgotten lullaby. With every step, Lena's understanding of the forest mystery deepened, and she began to see patterns in the music, a language of light and shadow, of joy and sorrow, interwoven into the very fabric of nature. One cool evening, as the moon ascended to its zenith and the forest glowed with an ethereal radiance, Ariane led Lena to a secret grove known as the Chamber of Whispers. Here, in a circle of colossal trees, the melodies merged into a singular, powerful hymn. Ariane explained that this was the Song of the Ancients, a song that told the story of the forest beginning, of a time when the earth was young and magic was as abundant as the stars. As Lena listened, the voices of the trees spoke of love, loss, growth, and renewal. The song recounted battles fought between light and darkness, the quiet triumph of seeds pushing through the soil, and the endless cycle of seasons that brought both joy and sorrow. It was a reminder that every ending was but the precursor to a new beginning, and that the forest, with its infinite wisdom, had seen the rise and fall of countless lives. Moved to tears by the profound beauty of the Song of the Ancients, Lena understood that the forest's music was a living chronicle, a sacred record of existence that connected every creature, every moment, every heartbeat. In that timeless moment, she vowed to carry this legacy in her heart and share its message with the world beyond the grove. Yet even in a place of such profound harmony, not all was without strife. As Lena's understanding deepened, she began to notice subtle dissonances, a discordant note here, a jarring silence there. Ariane revealed that every now and then, forces of imbalance would seep into the forest. The echoes of human sorrow, the scars of past conflicts, and the unchecked ambitions of those who had forgotten the sacred balance of nature. These intrusions disrupted the tree's song, casting fleeting shadows over the luminous melody. Determined to heal these wounds, Lena and Ariane embarked on a quest within the forest to find the sources of the discord. They journeyed to a secluded thicket where the trees stood twisted and gnarled, their song reduced to a mournful dirge. Here, Lena placed her hand upon the rough bark of an ancient cedar and closed her eyes. In the quiet, she felt the pulsing pain of the forest, a sorrow that came from neglect, from the scars of time and the weight of forgotten sorrows. Guided by intuition and the gentle wisdom of Ariane, Lena began to sing softly, her voice merging with the rustling of the leaves. Gradually, the dissonance softened, and the twisted branches began to straighten as if soothed by her song. In that tender act of healing, the forest reminded her that even in moments of discord, love and compassion could restore balance and bring forth a new, sweeter melody. In time, word of the miraculous singing forest spread beyond its borders. Villagers from distant lands arrived to witness the enchanted grove, to listen to the harmonious symphony of the trees, and to partake in the healing that resonated in every note. In celebration of this wondrous gift, the children of nearby hamlets organized the Festival of Renewal, a gathering held beneath the starlit canopy, where music, dance, and storytelling wove together the fabric of community and nature. Lena, now a bridge between the old legends and a hopeful future, helped prepare the festivities. Lanterns were strung from branch to branch, their soft light echoing the luminescence of the singing trees. Poets recited verses inspired by the forest's eternal song, and musicians played gentle melodies that mimicked the rustle of leaves and the whisper of the wind. At the heart of the celebration, Ariane and the ancient trees sang together, a chorus that celebrated life, transformation, and the resilience of nature. As the festival reached its crescendo, The entire grove seemed to pulse with a vibrant energy. In that sacred moment, the boundaries between human and tree, dream and reality, dissolved into a shared understanding that every life, whether rooted in the earth or born of the air, was a note in the grand symphony of existence. After the festival, as the celebrations gave way to quiet reflection, Lena spent many hours wandering the forest alone. She traced her fingers along the smooth bark of ancient trees, each scar and groove a testament to the passage of time and the wisdom of nature. The forest, in its silent majesty, seemed to speak directly to her soul, teaching her that true wisdom was not found in the noise of the world, but in the quiet communion with one's inner self. Every tree in the forest had a story to tell, a story of enduring love, of loss and rebirth, of the eternal dance between shadow and light. Lena recorded these lessons in her journal, preserving the lore of the singing trees for future generations. In her writings, she described not only the haunting beauty of the melodies, but also the transformative power of listening, of learning to hear the subtle voice of nature, and in doing so, discovering the hidden depths of one's own heart. Seasons turned as they always do, and the day eventually came when Lena realized that her journey in the forest must evolve. Though she had found in the singing trees a wellspring of wisdom and healing, she also understood that her destiny lay beyond the confines of the enchanted grove. With a heart both heavy and hopeful, she bid farewell to Ariane and the ancient trees that had become her teachers and companions. At the forest's edge, under a sky painted with the vibrant hues of twilight, Ariane placed a gentle hand on Lena's shoulder. "Remember," the guardian whispered, "that the song of the trees is not confined to this forest. It lives in you, in every heart that dares to listen, and in every moment when hope triumphs over despair. Carry our melody with you, and let it guide you on your path." With tears glistening in her eyes and the forest's eternal hymn echoing in her soul, Lena stepped out into the wider world, ready to share the lessons of the luminous grove with all who would listen. In the years that followed, Lena traveled far and wide, her words and music inspired by the forest where the trees sang. She became a storyteller, a guardian of nature's timeless secrets, and a beacon of hope for those seeking to heal their own wounds. In distant cities and humble villages alike, she recounted the tale of the luminous grove, the whispering woods where every leaf and branch carried a note of ancient wisdom. Lena's legacy spread like the gentle rustle of leaves in a soft breeze. Her story sparked a revival of interest in the old ways, encouraging people to reconnect with the natural world and to find solace in the enduring symphony of life. Schools of thought emerged that embraced the lessons of the singing trees, teaching that true harmony was achieved not by silencing discord, but by embracing every note of the grand melody, both high and low. Now, as twilight falls over distant lands and the stars begin to twinkle in the deep blue of night, there are those who say you can still hear it, the gentle, eternal song of the forest where the trees sing. Some claim that if you wander into a quiet wood with an open heart and a listening soul, the leaves will rustle in a soft, celestial cadence, and the ancient trees will share their stories of love, loss, and the promise of renewal. And though Lena has long since wandered on to other adventures, her legacy endures in every whispered note of that enchanted melody. For in the heart of every person who dares to dream and to listen lies a spark of that eternal light. A reminder that even in a world of uncertainty, nature sings a song of hope that never truly fades. It was at dawn that the children awoke to an eerie quiet. No gentle voices called them to breakfast. No familiar footsteps echoed in the corridors of their homes. Confusion turned to alarm as they roamed the narrow lanes of the village, peering into empty doorways and silent kitchens. Little Mara, barely 8, clutched her ragged teddy bear and asked in a trembling voice, "Mama, where is everyone?" The answers, if any, were found only in the unyielding silence of the empty houses and the cold mist that clung to the cobblestones. Amid the shock and sorrow, a seed of determination took root. If the grown-ups were gone, then perhaps the children must now take charge. In hushed gatherings in candlelit rooms, and by the glow of fireflies in the dusk, the children began to piece together memories of the past. They recalled the comforting voices of their parents, the steady hands that once guided them, and the tales of old that painted a picture of a vibrant community. Yet these recollections were now overlaid with uncertainty. Some claimed to have seen fleeting shadows in the early morning mist, while others whispered of a strange light that had flickered in the sky just before the adults disappeared. In secret corners of the village, old diaries and tattered letters were discovered, documents that hinted at long-forgotten lore, of curses and blessings intertwined, and of a destiny that might have been written in the stars long before the first child was born. As the initial shock began to subside, the older children, those on the brink of adolescence, gathered in the town square beneath the ancient oak that had witnessed countless seasons. Led by quiet but resolute Thomas, a boy of 13, with eyes that held an unexpected depth of wisdom, they decided to form a council. In that makeshift assembly, they debated how to manage daily life in a village suddenly bereft of adult guidance. Tasks were distributed with careful deliberation. Some would tend to the gardens and livestock. Others would preserve the knowledge stored in the dusty books of the old library, while a few were charged with exploring the mysterious events that had led to the vanishing. With every decision made, the children discovered that though small in number and stature, they carried within them the potential for leadership and hope. Curiosity stirred within the council, a resolve to understand what had truly happened. Under the flickering light of handmade lanterns, they scoured the abandoned homes and public buildings for clues. In the attic of one old cottage, Lila, a sensitive, insightful girl of 12, discovered a trunk filled with relics, photographs, letters, and a fragile leather-bound journal. The journal belonged to a revered elder, whose final entry spoke of an age-old pact between the village and an unseen force, a promise of renewal should the time ever come when the guardians of wisdom were absent. The words were cryptic, hinting at a ritual and a transformation that might have been both a blessing and a curse. Each fragment of the past served as both a mystery and a guidepost, urging the children to look beyond despair and seek meaning in the inexplicable. Driven by a longing for answers and the need to reclaim a sense of normalcy, a small band of brave children set out on a journey beyond the familiar fields of their home. Thomas, Lila, Mara, and a handful of others crossed the creaking wooden bridge that led to the wild, untamed lands beyond the village. They navigated winding forest paths and crossed sparkling streams, their hearts a mixture of fear and wonder, as they searched for any sign of the missing adults or the source of the mysterious occurrence. Along the way, they encountered remnants of an older world, a crumbling stone archway inscribed with symbols that glowed faintly in the twilight, a forgotten well whose water shimmered with an otherworldly luminescence, and even a clearing where the wind seemed to whisper secrets in an ancient tongue. Each step of the journey was both a physical and a spiritual quest, as the children began to understand that the answers they sought lay not solely in the world outside, but also within the depths of their own hearts. During their expedition, the children came upon a mystical forest unlike any they had known. The trees were tall and silvered with age, their leaves shimmering with hues of blue and green, as if touched by magic. Here, the natural world seemed to hold its breath, and every rustle of leaves and babble of a hidden brook resonated with meaning. In this enchanted forest, the children met a peculiar figure, an elderly wanderer with kind eyes and a voice that carried the weight of countless years. He called himself the Story Keeper, and he spoke of legends from distant lands where magic and mystery were not confined to bedtime stories. According to the Story Keeper, the village's fate was intertwined with an ancient prophecy, that in a time of great loss, a new generation would rise and the world would be remade by those with the pure, unblemished hearts of children. The wanderer revealed that the disappearance of the adults was not an act of malice, but a necessary step in the cycle of rebirth, a chance for the forgotten magic of the old world to reawaken through the eyes of the young. Buoyed by the story keeper's words, the children began to see their predicament not as a tragic accident, but as a transformative opportunity. With each shared tale and every comforting word, they discovered that within their innocence lay an extraordinary power. In the quiet moments before sleep, many found themselves visiting a secret world, a place where dreams intermingled with the remnants of ancient magic, where a shimmering river of light flowed beneath a starry sky, and where the voices of those who had come before whispered guidance and hope. In these dreams, the children learned to harness their inner strength and to envision a future where they could rebuild a society founded on compassion, creativity, and the limitless potential of youthful wonder. They began to create art, music, and stories that celebrated their shared experiences and honored the legacy of those who had vanished. Murals depicting the lost adults and symbols of renewal adorned the crumbling walls of the village square, and nightly gatherings under the open sky became rituals of collective healing and remembrance. In every act of creation, the children were writing a new chapter, a promise that even in the absence of the old, life could bloom afresh. As time passed, the balance between the mysterious forces that had once enveloped the village and the unyielding spirit of the children began to shift. On a night when the moon hung low and luminous in the sky, a shimmering light appeared on the horizon beyond the ancient woods. It was not the harsh glare of torches or the cold glimmer of stars, but a soft, ethereal radiance that beckoned with both warmth and melancholy. The children, led by Thomas and Lila, gathered at the edge of the village as the lights slowly converged upon them. From the brilliance emerged figures both familiar and new, spectral silhouettes that carried the gentle presence of the adults who had vanished. They were not corporeal, but their forms glowed with a comforting radiance. In hushed awe, the children realized that these were the guardians of the village, the spirits of the elders, parents, and teachers returned in a form that transcended mortal limits. The guardians spoke without words, their presence conveying messages of forgiveness, hope, and renewal. They explained that the disappearance had been a sacred transformation, a way for the old world to pass its mantle of wisdom to the next generation, ensuring that the lessons of the past would guide the future. The children embraced the guardians, and in that communion, they found not sorrow but a profound sense of continuity. The legacy of the adults would live on, not as an echo of what was lost, but as a vibrant, living guide to help them navigate the uncharted territories of their new world. Inspired by the visit of the guardians and armed with the lessons of their journey, the children returned to the heart of their village with renewed determination. They set about transforming their once silent hamlet into a place where creativity, learning, and compassion reigned. Under the guidance of the council they had formed, every child took part in rebuilding their community. They repaired crumbling homes, planted gardens that burst with wildflowers, and established schools of thought where stories, arts, and ancient wisdom were shared freely. In their work, the children discovered that leadership need not come from age, but from a willingness to listen to one's inner truth and to work together for the common good. They honored the memory of the past not by mourning it endlessly, but by using it as a foundation upon which to build a future filled with promise. Festivals were held to celebrate the mysterious journey that had changed their lives, a time when the village glowed with lanterns, laughter, and songs that celebrated the magic of both loss and renewal. Years turned into decades, and the village where only children had once remained blossomed into a vibrant community. The story of their miraculous transformation spread far beyond the borders of the valley, inspiring others to believe in the power of renewal and the strength found in unity. The children, now grown and wise beyond their years, carried with them the lessons of their youth, that every ending was merely the precursor to a new beginning, and that the light of hope burns brightest when nurtured by compassion and courage. Elders in the village, who had once been children themselves, passed down the tale in a language rich with poetry and wonder. Murals depicting the vanishing, the journey, and the reunion with the guardians adorned the walls of public spaces. The restored village became a beacon, a testament to the idea that even in the most perplexing of mysteries, love and community can guide the way toward a brighter future. In the gentle twilight of a sun-washed afternoon, as the wind carried the laughter of children through blossoming orchards and the soft hum of life filled every corner of the village, the legacy of that extraordinary day endured. The story of the village where only children remained was no longer one of loss and loneliness, but a celebration of resilience, imagination, and the eternal spark of hope that lives within every heart. The tale became a living legend, whispered by the elders to the new generations, a reminder that sometimes, in the space where adults vanish, the world is given a chance to start anew. For in that mysterious sacred void, the pure light of youth revealed the possibility of endless wonder, of a life reimagined and reborn. And so, beneath the vast canopy of starlit skies and the watchful gaze of the ancient forests, the village thrived, a community built by little hands and guided by big hearts, a living testament to the truth that sometimes the world's most profound changes begin with those who dare to dream. In a small village tucked away among rolling hills and misted valleys, young Aaron grew up on tales of wonder. His grandmother, a woman whose eyes sparkled with secrets of bygone days, often recounted the legend of the candle of eternal light, a candle that burned without flame. In the evenings by the hearth, as the wind rattled the ancient window panes and shadows danced on the walls, she spoke of a time when the candle was hidden deep within the ruins of an old monastery, waiting to be discovered by one whose heart was pure and curious. Aaron's imagination was ignited by these stories. He would wander along the winding country roads, his mind filled with visions of radiant light and magic. Though the village was modest and its people simple, the legend of the unlit candle filled Aaron with a sense of purpose. He vowed that one day he would seek out the mysterious object, not only to witness its marvel, but also to understand the deeper truth it symbolized. That light need not come from a roaring blaze to banish darkness. One fateful summer, when the air was thick with the scent of blooming wildflowers and the days stretched out lazily beneath a cobalt sky, Aaron embarked on a journey that would change his life. Guided by fragments of lore and the secret maps hidden among his grandmother's old letters, he set off toward the ancient ruins of the long-abandoned monastery known as Celestine Keep. The monastery, perched on a craggy hilltop and veiled in swirling mists, had once been a center of learning and mysticism, its halls echoing with the prayers and incantations of devoted monks. After a long and arduous trek through overgrown pathways and crumbling stone arches, Aaron reached a secluded chamber deep within the monastery's forgotten wing. There, on a stone pedestal carved with delicate symbols of hope and renewal, sat a candle unlike any he had ever seen. It was slender and unadorned by wax or wick, yet it glowed with an ethereal light that bathed the chamber in a serene luminescence. No flame danced upon it, only a soft, steady radiance that seemed to pulse in time with the silent rhythm of the universe. In that moment, Aaron knew he had found the legendary candle his grandmother had spoken of. In the days that followed his discovery, Aaron devoted himself to understanding the mystery of the candle. He consulted ancient manuscripts in the monastery's crumbling library and sought the wisdom of the village's elders, who remembered fragments of the old lore. What he learned was as puzzling as it was profound. The candle was believed to be a conduit between the seen and unseen realms, a beacon of inner illumination that revealed truths hidden in the depths of the soul. Scholars and mystics had long debated the nature of light and darkness, and the candle of eternal light, as it was now known, was said to burn by harnessing the pure essence of memory, hope, and the dreams of generations past. Unlike a flame that consumed its fuel, this candle was nourished by the intangible, by the silent strength of hearts united in love, sorrow, and joy. Its light was a reminder that true illumination came not from the brilliance of fire, but from the quiet power of inner conviction. Aaron spent many nights in meditation before the candle, allowing its subtle glow to guide his thoughts. In the stillness of those hours, visions emerged, fleeting images of a world where shadows and light danced in perfect harmony, where every lost hope found its way back into the embrace of memory. The candle revealed that its burn was not an act of defiance against the dark, but a celebration of the light that resided within every human spirit. Word of the candle's existence slowly spread through secret channels, reaching the ears of those both curious and covetous. As Aaron continued his study, he encountered challenges that tested his resolve. One such trial came in the form of a mysterious wanderer known only as Serene, a scholar of ancient magic who claimed to have spent years searching for the candle. With eyes that held both melancholy and fierce determination, Selene warned Aaron that such a relic was both a blessing and a burden. "It is not enough to possess the light," she said one moonlit evening as they sat under the stars near Celestine Keep. "You must be prepared to confront the darkness within, for only when you have reconciled your own shadows can you truly understand the flame that burns without flame." Her words echoed in Aaron's mind as he wrestled with his inner doubts. Could he embrace not only the wonder of the candle, but also the truths it demanded he face? Thus began a journey inward as much as outward. Aaron sought to reconcile with past sorrows, to forgive old wounds, and to accept the complexities of his own nature. In doing so, he found that the candle's glow grew brighter and steadier, a mirror of the clarity that came from self-acceptance. The trials, though arduous, became stepping stones on his path to inner illumination. In time, Aaron learned that he was not alone in his quest. Hidden in the remote corners of the realm were others who had encountered strange, unlit lights. Guardians of ancient wisdom, whose lives were intertwined with the mysteries of the candle of eternal light. One such guardian was an elderly monk named Brother Julian, who had spent decades in silent contemplation within the ruins of Celestine Keep. Julian taught Aaron that the candle was more than a relic. It was a symbol of the eternal interplay between hope and despair, light and darkness. Together with Selene and Brother Julian, Aaron embarked on a pilgrimage to visit sacred sites that were said to be touched by the candle's mysterious energy. They traveled through misty forests, across windswept moors, and over ancient stone bridges where time itself seemed to stand still. At each site, subtle clues, an inscription on a weathered wall, the arrangement of wildflowers in a hidden glen, a whispered legend shared by an old wanderer, pointed to the deeper significance of the unlit flame. The journey was as much about discovering forgotten truths as it was about healing old scars. In quiet moments around small campfires, the trio shared their innermost fears and hopes. They found solace in knowing that every soul carried within it a spark of the same light that the candle embodied, a light that could guide one through even the darkest of nights. On a crisp winter night, beneath a sky sprinkled with stars, the companions returned to the monastery where the candle had first been discovered. In the silent chill of the ancient stone corridors, Ariane sat before the candle of eternal light, now carefully transported to a sanctum within the monastery. The atmosphere was charged with expectancy, as if the very walls were aware that something momentous was about to unfold. In the quiet glow of the candle, Aaron experienced a vision that transcended ordinary dreams. He saw the faces of those who had come before, lost souls who had struggled, loved, and found meaning in the interplay of light and dark. He saw the gentle hand of fate guiding each of their lives, and he understood that the candle's unlit flame was a reflection of a truth that was both universal and deeply personal. The vision revealed that the candle's magic lay not in defying nature, but in revealing the natural beauty of transformation. Its flame, though unseen, burned in the hearts of those who dared to embrace both their light and their shadow. Aaron felt a surge of gratitude for the journey that had led him here, and a renewed sense of purpose. He understood that by sharing the wisdom of the unlit flame, he could help others discover the luminous power that resided within themselves. Yet as with all things of great power, the candle's secret was coveted by those who sought to control it for their own gain. Dark forces stirred in distant lands, powerful individuals who believed that harnessing the candle's mysterious energy would grant them dominion over life and death. Rumors of shadowy figures and clandestine agents began to spread, and soon Aaron and his companions found themselves the target of threats designed to silence their quest for truth. In the face of these challenges, Aaron was forced to confront not only external adversaries, but also the doubts that gnawed at the edges of his resolve. There were nights when the silence of the monastery was broken by the echo of distant footsteps and the whisper of conspiracies. Yet through these trials, Aaron learned that true faith was forged in adversity. The candle's glow, unwavering and pure, became his anchor in the storm. With the support of Serene, Brother Julian, and the steadfast villagers who had come to believe in the power of inner light, he stood against those who sought to extinguish the spirit of hope. In a climactic confrontation beneath a sky roiled with storm clouds, the forces of darkness attempted to seize the candle. But in that moment, the unlit flame shone forth with a brilliance that defied human understanding, a silent, powerful radiance that scattered the shadows and reminded all present that light in its truest form could never be contained. The victory was not one of grand spectacle, but of quiet resilience. The adversaries retreated into the darkness, leaving behind whispers of defeat and the lingering sense that the balance of light and shadow had been preserved. In the years that followed, Aaron and his companions dedicated themselves to sharing the profound lessons of the candle of eternal light with all who would listen. They established gatherings where people from far and wide could come to learn about the power of self-acceptance, the beauty of transformation, and the truth that even a candle that burns without flame could illuminate the darkest of nights. Under Aaron's guidance, the ancient monastery was restored to a place of pilgrimage, a sanctuary where seekers could find solace and inspiration. Artists painted ethereal murals inspired by the candle's soft glow. Poets composed verses that captured the delicate interplay of light and shadow, and musicians created haunting melodies that echoed the rhythm of the unlit flame. The legacy of the candle spread far beyond the borders of the small land, a timeless testament to the idea that true illumination comes not from what is seen, but from what is felt deep within the heart. As seasons turned to years and years melded into a gentle tapestry of memory, Aaron found that the journey was far from over. The candle, now enshrined in the heart of the monastery, continued to burn without flame, a quiet guardian of hope and transformation that challenged every soul to look within and embrace both their light and their darkness. Aaron, now weathered by time but ever radiant in spirit, traveled throughout distant lands, sharing the story of the unlit flame and the lessons he had learned on his quest. Everywhere he went, he encountered others who carried their own inner light, sometimes dimmed by sorrow or obscured by fear. With gentle words and the silent promise of the candle's radiance, he helped them kindle the spark of renewal within themselves. In each new encounter, he was reminded that the true magic of the candle lay not in the mystery of its unlit flame, but in the infinite capacity of the human spirit to illuminate its own path, even when the fire of life seemed all but extinguished. In the twilight of his life, Aaron returned once more to the restored monastery, a place that had become a beacon of hope and a repository of ancient wisdom. There, in a quiet chamber lined with the soft glow of candlelight from countless other unlit candles that had been inspired by his own journey, he sat in meditation before the original candle of eternal light. As he gazed at its gentle radiance, Aaron recalled the long and arduous path that had brought him here. He remembered the whispered legends of his childhood, the trials that had tested his resolve, the voices of friends and guardians who had guided him through both joy and despair. In that sacred silence, he understood that the candle's power was eternal, not because it burned with a visible flame, but because its light was the light of every soul that dared to dream, to hope, and to rise again after every fall. With his final breaths, Aaron inscribed a simple message on a scroll, a message meant to be passed down to all who would seek the light within themselves. May your heart always burn with the quiet brilliance of a candle that needs no flame. Long after Aaron's passing, the story of the candle of eternal light became woven into the timeless tapestry of lore. Generations came and went, yet the unlit candle continued to shine, a silent reminder that true illumination is born of the spirit and not of transient fire. Pilgrims still journeyed to the monastery, each seeking the solace and wisdom that could only be found in the soft, unwavering glow of a light that burns without flame. In every whispered prayer, in every heartfelt confession, and in every moment of quiet introspection, the candle's radiance lived on. It became a symbol of hope, a promise that no matter how dark the night or how heavy the burden, there was always a spark within waiting to ignite the possibility of a new dawn. In the modest village of Silver Creek, named for a gentle stream that meandered through sunlit meadows, lived a young woman named Liana Marlowe. Known for her vivid dreams and an insatiable curiosity about the unseen world, Liana often spent her nights awake, her mind wandering in the quiet moments before sleep overtook her. Since childhood, she had been haunted by recurring dreams of a river that sparkled under an impossible light, its waters carrying voices and visions that defied explanation. Unlike the ordinary creek that wound through her village, this river was ethereal, a waterway that seemed to exist only where the heart of a dream dared to wander. Liana's days were filled with the simple rhythms of village life, tending to her small garden, reading at the local library, and sharing quiet conversations with neighbors. Yet every night, when darkness settled in and her eyelids grew heavy, she felt a magnetic pull toward that otherworldly current, a call from the depths of her unconscious that whispered promises of secrets waiting to be unraveled. One crisp autumn night, when the wind carried the scent of fallen leaves and distant rain, Liana drifted into sleep with a sense of both trepidation and anticipation. In her dream, she found herself standing on the banks of a vast, luminous river. Its waters shimmered with an inner light that transformed every ripple into a cascade of silver and gold. The river's banks were lined with trees whose leaves glowed with gentle iridescence, and the air was filled with a soft, musical murmur, like the sound of distant chimes that echoed the pulse of the earth. Compelled by an indescribable force, Liana stepped forward. As her bare feet touched the smooth, glistening stones along the river's edge, she felt a rush of energy that seemed to awaken parts of her soul long dormant. The river flowed not only through the dreamscape, but also through her memories, carrying fragments of her past, her joys, and her sorrows. Each step along the bank revealed new vistas, meadows of floating light, archways formed of entwined branches, and reflections of faces that looked both familiar and strange. The river was alive with symbolism, a living tapestry woven from the threads of every dream she had ever dared to imagine. As Liana ventured further into the dream, she began to hear voices carried on the gentle current. They spoke in hushed tones, their words merging with the rustling of dreamtime breezes. Some voices were soft and mournful, recounting tales of lost loves and shattered hopes. Others were filled with wonder, urging her to embrace the potential of the unknown. One voice, resonant and tender, repeated a single phrase over and over: "Remember and be free." The phrase stirred deep within her, awakening a longing to uncover a truth buried beneath layers of forgotten emotion. In that surreal landscape, the river seemed to embody the very essence of transformation. Its ever-changing course suggested that time itself was fluid in the realm of dreams, a place where the past, present, and future danced together in a gentle, perpetual embrace. Liana's heart swelled with both melancholy and exhilaration as she realized that this river was not a mere figment of her imagination. It was a guide, an oracle that invited her to journey inward and confront the shadows that lingered within her soul. Upon awakening the next morning, Liana found herself unable to shake the vivid memories of the dream. Determined to understand the meaning behind the mystical river, she sought out the village elder, Master Corvin, a man reputed for his deep knowledge of folklore and ancient traditions. Over steaming cups of herbal tea in a snug candlelit study lined with dusty tomes, Master Corvin recounted old legends of the Dream River, a waterway that existed in the space between sleep and wakefulness, accessible only to those whose hearts were open to the magic of possibility. According to the ancient lore, the Dream River was believed to be the source of all creative inspiration and healing. It was said that its waters carried the power to mend broken hearts, to transform sorrow into wisdom, and to reveal hidden aspects of one's true self. Many in the past had sought the river's blessings, and some claimed that their lives were forever altered by its gentle touch. Master Corvin spoke of a ritual, simple yet profound, in which one might enter a state of deep meditation and allow the boundary between the conscious and the dream realm to dissolve. Liana listened intently, feeling as though every word was an invitation to embark on a journey that transcended the mundane and reached into the very heart of mystery. That very night, Liana prepared herself for another journey into the realm of dreams. Guided by Master Corvin's words in the soft light of a crescent moon streaming through her window, she retreated into a quiet, undisturbed space where she could surrender completely to sleep. She closed her eyes and, with a slow, deliberate breath, let go of the waking world. In her dream, the river beckoned her once again. This time its current seemed even more vibrant, its waters alive with colors that defied description. A tapestry of blues that melted into purples, streaks of fiery orange mingling with cool silver reflections. As Liana followed the gentle flow, she found herself drifting past floating islands of light and archways carved by the hands of unseen dreamsmiths. Each moment felt timeless, as though she were suspended in a state of eternal twilight where every second held the weight of countless possibilities. Along the banks, she encountered figures that shimmered like ephemeral memories, guardians of the dream realm whose eyes glowed with ancient wisdom. One such figure, clad in robes of mist and starlight, stepped forward and greeted her with a nod. "You have come seeking the truth within," the guardian intoned softly. "The river flows not just in dreams, but within every heart that dares to remember its own forgotten desires." The guardian's words resonated deeply within Liana, filling her with both comfort and a profound sense of responsibility. It was as if the river itself had chosen her to be its messenger, to carry its secrets into the waking world. As the journey continued, the dreamscape grew increasingly intricate and challenging. The once gentle current of the river transformed into swift rapids, and dark, twisting tributaries emerged from shadowy recesses. Liana found herself navigating obstacles that mirrored her inner struggles, moments of self-doubt, regret, and fear that threatened to overwhelm her. At times, the river's flow seemed to carry her backward, forcing her to confront painful memories she had long buried. The loss of a cherished friend, the sting of unspoken goodbyes, and the wounds of betrayal that still festered in the hidden corners of her soul. In these turbulent moments, the luminous water of the dream river became a mirror for her innermost pain. Yet even as the currents roared and the night darkened, Liana sensed that the river's purpose was not to punish, but to heal. With each challenge, she learned to let go of old burdens, to trust in the transformative power of her own heart. Slowly, she discovered that the river's shifting tides were guiding her toward a deeper understanding of herself. A realization that the obstacles in her path were not barriers, but stepping stones on the journey to self-reconciliation. At the heart of the dreamscape, where the river widened into a vast, serene lake that reflected an endless sky, Liana encountered a moment of profound clarity. Here, the boundaries between dream and reality, past and future, began to blur. The lake's surface was like a mirror of infinity, capturing the light of countless stars and the soft glow of a moon that never waned. It was here that the guardian reappeared, now seated on a smooth stone at the water's edge. "Behold the convergence," the guardian murmured, gesturing toward the tranquil expanse. "This is the place where the river of dreams meets the wellspring of the soul. In this stillness, you will find the answers you seek, for here the essence of your being is laid bare in its purest form." As Liana gazed into the reflective waters, she saw not only her own face, but the faces of those who had come before, each carrying their own stories of joy and sorrow, love and loss. The vision was overwhelming, a tapestry of interconnected lives and dreams that transcended the confines of time. In that moment, Liana understood that the dream river was not an isolated phenomenon, but a manifestation of a universal truth, that every human heart is a reservoir of hopes, memories, and hidden desires. The river's flow was the pulse of collective imagination, an ever-present current that nourished the spirit and allowed the world to dream anew. As the vision slowly faded, Liana felt an inner warmth spread through her, a gentle, radiant energy that seemed to fill every corner of her being. The challenges of the turbulent rapids, the sorrow of the dark tributaries, and the luminous serenity of the converging lake had all merged into a single, transformative experience. She realized that the dream river had bestowed upon her a gift, the ability to see beyond the ordinary, to understand that the realm of dreams held the power to heal and to inspire. When she awoke the next morning, the memories of her nocturnal journey were vivid and alive. Every detail, from the shimmering hues of the water to the gentle voice of the guardian, remained etched in her mind. With newfound clarity and resolve, Liana began to record her experiences in a leather-bound journal, determined to share the wisdom of the dream river with others who might feel lost or burdened by the weight of unfulfilled desires. In the days and weeks that followed, Liana's life underwent a quiet yet profound transformation. She became a storyteller and a guide, inviting others to explore the inner landscapes of their own dreams. In the village of Silver Creek, she organized small gatherings where people would share their nighttime visions and the emotions that accompanied them. Through her gentle encouragement, many discovered that the mysterious river was not a mere fantasy confined to the realm of sleep. It was a symbol of hope, resilience, and the limitless potential of the human spirit. Local artists found inspiration in her tales, painting surreal landscapes that captured the ephemeral beauty of the dream river. Musicians composed melodies that echoed its gentle, flowing rhythm, and poets wove verses that spoke of journeys beyond the veil of ordinary existence. In every shared story, there was a spark of the ineffable magic that Liana had experienced, a reminder that even in the quiet solitude of sleep, the heart could find a current of renewal. As the seasons turned and years passed, the legend of the river that only flowed in dreams grew into a cherished part of local lore. Liana's journal, filled with the details of her nocturnal adventures and the wisdom gleaned from the guardian of the dreamscape, became a treasured heirloom for those who sought to understand the language of their inner worlds. The river, though invisible to the waking eye, lived on in the collective memory of the village, a symbol of the eternal connection between the seen and unseen, the known and the mysterious. In time, Liana's teachings spread far beyond Silver Creek. Scholars, artists, and seekers of truth from distant lands journeyed to hear her speak about the transformative power of dreams and the river that coursed through them. In every retelling of her story, the river remained an enduring metaphor, a reminder that the true essence of life is found not only in the clarity of daylight, but also in the gentle, uncharted waters of the dream world. Now, in the twilight of her own life, Liana Marlowe often sat by her window as dusk turned to night, gazing at the darkened landscape with a serene smile. Though her mortal eyes could no longer behold the radiant hues of the dream river, she carried its light within her heart, a luminous current that sustained her spirit. Each time she closed her eyes to sleep, she welcomed the familiar murmur of that mystical water, knowing that in that secret realm, every soul could find solace, renewal, and the courage to dream again. The river that only flows in dreams remains an eternal testament to the hidden depths of the human heart, a silent invitation to journey beyond the boundaries of the waking world and discover the infinite reservoirs of hope, creativity, and healing that lie within us all. Marina Cortez had grown up in Salanora, her childhood etched against the backdrop of crashing surf and moonlit tides. As a young girl, she often sat by the rocky shore, mesmerized by the interplay of light on water and the distant echo of that mysterious call. Though most villagers learned to ignore its haunting refrain, Marina felt a pull that was impossible to deny. Now in her early 20s, working as a marine biologist at the small coastal research station, she balanced her scientific curiosity with the soulful memories of those whispered legends. Late one summer evening, while calibrating instruments on a windswept cliff, Marina heard the familiar, almost musical murmur rising from the darkened sea. It was softer than she remembered from her youth, yet laden with a profound sadness, a call that seemed meant only for her. Troubled by the voice's uncanny intimacy, Marina began to explore the old lore of Salanora. In the local archives, she unearthed brittle journals and faded maps detailing encounters with the mysterious sound. One diary, penned by an ancestor whose name was lost to time, described nights when the voice would weave together the stories of the drowned and the hopeful. According to the writings, the call was not a curse, but a beckoning, a summons to reconcile with a past of ancient strife and untold beauty. Intrigued and unsettled in equal measure, Marina spent long hours combing through relics of myth and maritime history, each page hinting at a connection between the voice and the deep, uncharted secrets of the ocean floor. One overcast night, with the moon a pale sentinel behind drifting clouds, Marina ventured to the water's edge. The tide was low, and the frothy surf lapped against jagged rocks. As she knelt on the cool sand, the voice began anew, an almost imperceptible hymn rising from the dark expanse of the sea. In that moment, the ocean itself seemed to breathe, and Marina felt a sudden, inexplicable intimacy with the watery world. The voice carried snippets of syllables that felt like fragments of a language older than time. Overwhelmed by both trepidation and wonder, she closed her eyes and let the sound wash over her. In the interplay of the rhythmic waves and the ghostly melody, memories, both hers and those not her own, seemed to flutter at the edges of her consciousness. Haunted by her experience, Marina confided in her mentor, Dr. Roland Vega, a seasoned oceanographer whose own life was steeped in coastal lore. With eyes that had seen many storms and sunsets over endless horizons, Dr. Vega listened intently as Marina described the voice. "There are legends," he murmured, "of an ancient covenant between the sea and those who dwell upon its shores. Some say the ocean remembers every soul that has ever been lost to its depths, and that every so often it calls out to mend broken ties. Spurred by his words, Marina resolved to embark on a daring expedition, a scientific and personal quest to trace the origin of the mysterious call. With a small crew and a modest research vessel, she set sail at dawn, leaving behind the familiar safety of Salanora to seek answers in the dark embrace of the deep. As the vessel, the Aurora, cut through churning waves, Marina felt the weight of destiny in every gust of salty wind. Days merged into nights under a vast canvas of star-strewn skies. The further they traveled from the coastline, the more pronounced the spectral call became. It was as though the ocean itself guided them, the sound growing richer, layered with echoes and harmonies that defied the natural order. The crew, a hardy band of fishermen turned researchers and marine technicians, shared hushed conversations about ancient mariners and the legends of mermaids and lost cities. Though skeptical, even the most cynical among them could not ignore the eerie beauty of the call that seemed to animate the very water around them. On the fifth night, as the vessel bobbed gently under a full, radiant moon, Marina's instruments began to pick up inexplicable readings. A deep, rhythmic pulse emanated from a sector of the ocean floor, a thrum that resonated with the sound of the voice. Determined to uncover its source, Marina organized a dive team for a nocturnal expedition. With state-of-the-art diving gear and a palpable sense of trepidation, she and two trusted colleagues descended into the inky depths, leaving behind the dim lights of the ship for the dark, silent kingdom beneath. Descending into the deep, Marina was enveloped by a world of eerie stillness and surreal beauty. Bioluminescent creatures glowed like scattered stars against the obsidian background, and delicate tendrils of seaweed swayed with the languid rhythm of the currents. It was here, in this alien realm, that the voice grew unmistakably clear. As she moved through a labyrinth of underwater canyons, Marina discovered an immense natural amphitheater formed by ancient rock and coral. The structure, cloaked in shadow and mystery, appeared to be the source of the haunting melody. There, amid softly undulating sands and silent ruins, she found evidence of a long-forgotten civilization. Carvings on stone pillars depicted figures with both human and aquatic features, a hybrid race that, according to myth, had once governed the ocean's secrets. In the center of the amphitheater, a series of intricate channels and basins channeled the natural currents into a resonant chamber. It was as if the very architecture of the deep had been designed to capture and amplify the voice. As Marina swam closer, the voice enveloped her in a warm, melancholic embrace, urging her to listen and understand. Within the quiet majesty of the underwater sanctuary, Marina encountered a phenomenon that defied explanation. A figure, ethereal and shifting like liquid silver, emerged from the murk of a hidden alcove. It was neither fully human nor entirely spectral, a being whose form was defined by the interplay of light and shadow. The apparition's eyes, deep and knowing, met Marina's, and in that silent communion, the voice spoke directly to her heart. "I am Arendor," the entity intoned, its voice a sonorous blend of longing and wisdom. "I am the keeper of memories drowned by time, a guardian of secrets woven into the tapestry of the sea." Arendor revealed that long ago, his people had sought communion with both the mortal realm and the boundless deep, forging a bond with the ocean that allowed them to harness its mysteries. Yet betrayal and sorrow had fractured that union, leaving behind only echoes. A voice that, even now, called out to restore what had been lost. The apparition explained that the call Marina had heard was not merely a remnant of ancient magic, but a plea for redemption, a summons to heal the wounds of the past and to bridge the chasm between land and sea. Overwhelmed by the encounter, Marina listened as Arendor recounted the tragic history of his people, a civilization that had vanished beneath the waves after a fateful betrayal, their wisdom and grace scattered like pearls lost in the sand. "You have been chosen," he whispered, "to be the vessel through which our voices may be heard once more. The ocean's heart beats in you, and in your compassion lies the power to mend the rift." Shaken yet emboldened by the revelation, Marina emerged from the deep with more questions than answers. Back aboard the Aurora, she found that her very being had been subtly altered by her encounter. Dreams haunted her sleep, visions of ancient cities submerged in shimmering light, and of people whose voices melded with the song of the waves. The mysterious call now resonated within her, a constant reminder of the duty that had been laid before her. Determined to honor the pact implicit in Arendor's words, Marina began working feverishly to document everything. She recorded the markings in the underwater amphitheater, collected samples of strange bioluminescent flora, and sketched the ethereal visage of the Guardian. Her research soon attracted the attention of scholars and mystics far beyond Salanora. While many dismissed her findings as the flights of an overactive imagination, a few recognized the extraordinary nature of her discovery. Among them was Professor Anselm Drake, an eminent historian of maritime legends, who arrived in Salanora with fervor and determination to assist in Marina's quest. Together, they pieced together fragments of an ancient narrative, a tale of a covenant between humankind and the deep, a promise that the voices of the drowned would one day be restored if only the living could learn to listen with open hearts. The more Marina delved into the mystery, the more she realized that her destiny was intertwined with that of the ocean. The voice, the guardian, and the hidden ruins were not isolated relics of a forgotten past. They were the keys to an ancient healing, a long overdue reconciliation between a world above and the realm beneath. As the celestial alignment of a rare lunar eclipse neared, a phenomenon said to thin the veil between worlds, Marina and her newfound allies prepared for one final daring expedition. Under the cloak of darkness, with the ocean brimming with anticipatory energy, they set sail for the coordinates of the underwater amphitheater. The eclipse was foretold in ancient texts to be the moment when the ocean's heart would beat strongest, when the voice would reach its zenith and the past might finally be reconciled with the present. That fateful night, as the moon dimmed behind the earth's shadow and the sea shimmered with otherworldly light, Marina led a team of divers back into the depths. Every stroke through the ink-black water felt like a journey into the very soul of the ocean. In the amphitheater, the structure glowed faintly as currents funneled the energy of the eclipse into a luminous crescendo. Then, amid a cascade of bioluminescent brilliance, the voice arose once more, this time richer and fuller than ever, as if the ocean itself were singing a hymn of redemption. In that enchanted moment, Arendor appeared again, his form more radiant under the eclipse's mystic light. "The time has come," he proclaimed, his tone imbued with both sorrow and hope. "By accepting the legacy of the deep, you will restore what was torn asunder. Let your heart be the bridge between the worlds, and let the voice of the drowned be heard anew." Marina, with tears mingling with the salt water on her cheeks, felt a surge of resolve. With a measured breath, she stepped forward and placed her hand upon an ancient stone, carved with the emblem of the lost civilization. In that instant, memories, both her own and those of an age long past, flooded her senses. She saw the rise and fall of a people, their laughter echoing in sunlit coves, their grief etched in the silent corridors of underwater temples. And she understood. The voice was not a lamentation of loss, but a call to remember, to heal, and to forge a new bond between mortal and marine. When the eclipse faded and the first glimmers of dawn crept over the horizon, Marina emerged from the depths forever transformed. The voice now a steady, comforting presence within her, continued to whisper in quiet moments, a reminder of the fragile yet resilient connection between all living things. Back in Salanora, the tale of her journey spread like ripples across a placid bay. Skeptics and believers alike found themselves drawn to the shoreline, eager to witness the subtle magic that now seemed to imbue the ocean. Marina dedicated herself to fostering a new understanding between the people of the village and the vast, mysterious sea. She organized gatherings by the water's edge, where elders recounted the old legends and children listened wide-eyed as the waves lapped at their feet. In these moments, the once ominous call became a song of unity, a symbol of hope and reconciliation. The coastal community, long isolated by fear and superstition, began to embrace the ocean as a living entity capable of both wrath and tenderness. Professor Drake and other scholars collaborated with Marina, slowly piecing together the historical and mystical significance of the ancient covenant. Their research revealed that long ago, the bond between land and sea had been celebrated in ritual and song, a bond that could be rekindled in times of despair. With each passing day, as the tides ebbed and flowed, the voice beneath the waves grew less a harbinger of doom and more a gentle reminder of life's interconnectedness. Years later, Salanora had transformed into a haven of lore and learning, its people no longer shackled by fear of the unknown. Marina, now revered as both a guardian and a visionary, continued to wander the shoreline, ever attentive to the quiet murmur of the ocean. The voice that once called from beneath the waves remained a constant presence, a timeless echo of ancient promises and the enduring resilience of the human spirit. On moonlit nights, when the sea shimmered with silver and the air was thick with the scent of salt and memory, the villagers would gather to listen. They heard not only the soft call from the deep, but also the laughter of ancestors and the whispered secrets of long-lost civilizations. In that eternal dialogue between the living and the remembered, the boundaries of time dissolved, leaving behind only the truth that every heart is intertwined with the mysteries of the deep. And so, the voice that called from beneath the waves became a beacon, a reminder that even in the darkest depths, hope endures, and every soul has a story worth hearing. The ocean, vast and inscrutable, continued its ancient song, a lullaby for those willing to listen, and a promise that no matter how far the tide may pull, the bonds of memory and love will forever echo across the endless blue. Elias Marine, a restless wanderer with eyes that had seen both the brilliance of city lights and the quiet solitude of open fields, first encountered the road on an overcast autumn evening. He had spent years chasing meaning in the mundane, and yet something about the whisper of wind through the trees, the subtle glint of a faded signpost half hidden by ivy, stirred an inexplicable longing within him. That night, as dusk merged with the cool blue of early night, Elias found himself standing at a fork in the road, a place where one path led to the familiar and the other, shrouded in mist, promised the adventure of a lifetime. A worn sign, its letters barely legible, pointed toward the unknown with a single word: beyond. With no clear direction and his heart pounding like a distant drum, he stepped onto the narrow, winding lane. The pavement was ancient and overgrown with wildflowers and moss, as if nature itself sought to reclaim this forgotten track. Every step echoed with the memory of untold stories, each stone and crevice whispering fragments of a time when the world was younger and magic still lingered in the air. For miles, the road stretched into a landscape that defied expectation. The trees arched overhead like sentinels guarding a sacred passage, their leaves murmuring in a language older than time. Elias felt both the thrill of discovery and the weight of solitude. There were no other travelers, no bustling towns, only the soft rustling of the wind and the distant call of nocturnal creatures. It was as if the road had chosen him, guiding him away from the predictable and into realms where reality itself bent and shimmered. At intervals, he encountered curious landmarks: a rusted bicycle half buried in a tangle of brambles, a weathered stone bench with carvings of unknown symbols, and even a placard with a riddle that read, "The end is not a place, but a moment beyond the reach of words." Each discovery deepened the mystery, inviting him to ponder whether the journey was measured in distance or in the evolution of the soul. As twilight surrendered to a star-studded night, Elias found himself near a tranquil lake that mirrored the heavens. The water, dark and still, held the reflections of countless constellations and perhaps even memories of travelers past. It was here on the quiet banks that he paused to rest and reflect on the road behind him. In the gentle lapping of the water, he heard not just the song of the night, but echoes of his own doubts and dreams. Sitting on the edge of the lake, he recalled moments from his past, regrets, hopes, and the subtle beauty of everyday life. The road, with its silent wisdom, seemed to absorb these memories and transform them into shimmering reflections on the surface of the water. In that meditative stillness, Elias sensed that the journey was as much about self-discovery as it was about reaching an elusive destination. The road, though solitary, was not entirely devoid of company. Along the way, Elias met a few other travelers, each drawn by the same inexplicable call of the unknown. There was Mira, a poet whose words were as enigmatic as the path she trod, and Rowan, an elderly man whose eyes sparkled with the secrets of 1,000 sunsets. Their conversations were hushed and profound, as if they all shared a silent understanding of the magic at work. Mira spoke of dreams that blurred the line between waking and sleeping, where places existed that defied description yet felt intimately familiar. Rowan recounted tales of distant lands seen in fleeting visions, a marketplace where the air shimmered with 1,000 colors, a garden where time itself danced to an ancient tune. In each story, the road emerged as a conduit to realms of wonder, a pathway not to a fixed point, but to a tapestry woven from the collective yearnings of those brave enough to seek beyond the obvious. Together they wandered for several days, exchanging stories beneath star-drenched skies and around flickering campfires. With every shared secret and every soft laugh carried away by the night wind, they came to understand that the journey was less about the destination and more about the transformation that occurred along the way. The terrain shifted as Elias and his companions ventured further. The familiar contours of countryside gave way to surreal landscapes that defied conventional description. Vast fields of luminescent wildflowers stretched beneath skies painted in impossible hues, indigo melding with violet, gold interlaced with deep emerald. Mountains loomed in the distance, their peaks obscured by swirling mist that glowed with an ethereal light. Rivers wound like silver threads through valleys, where the air shimmered with the reflections of dreams. In one such valley, the travelers came upon a forest where the trees were unlike any they had seen. Their bark was smooth and glassy, and their branches twined in intricate patterns, as if to tell a story of ancient design. The forest hummed with a subtle energy, and in its midst, the road seemed to vanish, only to reappear on the other side, as if it had been absorbed by the magic of the place and then reborn. Elias felt an overwhelming sense of awe mixed with trepidation. Each new vista evoked feelings that were hard to articulate, a blend of melancholy, hope, and an ineffable wonder that transcended language. The road, it seemed, was a living entity, ever-changing and filled with the dreams and memories of all who had walked it. One evening, as a gentle rain began to fall, the travelers took shelter in a small clearing. The rain transformed the world into a blur of shimmering water and muted colors. It was during this quiet interlude that Elias experienced a revelation. In the droplets that clung to leaves and danced in the puddles, he saw reflections not just of the physical world, but of his inner self, the joys he had cherished, the sorrows he had long buried. and the myriad moments that had defined his life. The road, too, appeared to mirror this inner landscape. Its twists and turns, its moments of abrupt silence and sudden burst of wonder were reflections of the human heart, ever-changing, mysterious, and profound. In the soft cadence of the rain, Elias realized that the true destination was not a place one could pinpoint on a map, but a state of being, a reconciliation of the self with the vast, unknowable cosmos. That night, as the rain subsided and the sky cleared to reveal a tapestry of stars, Elias felt a quiet clarity. The road, with its endless possibilities and ineffable beauty, was teaching him that some journeys are meant to be experienced rather than understood, that some destinations defy description because they reside within the heart rather than on the land. As dawn broke one crisp morning, the road led the travelers to a singular and inexplicable phenomenon, a bridge suspended between two realms. The bridge was constructed of light and mist, arching over a chasm that seemed to hold the weight of countless unspoken dreams. It was here that they encountered a gathering of figures cloaked in silence, their forms ephemeral and shifting like the morning fog. These enigmatic beings, known only as the Wardens of the Passage, spoke in voices that resonated like distant chimes. They explained that the bridge marked the threshold of the place no one could ever fully describe, a realm that transcended the limitations of language and logic. This destination was not a physical locale, but an experience, a state of grace and understanding that one could only grasp through the journey of the soul. The wardens warned that crossing the bridge meant relinquishing all preconceived notions and embracing the full spectrum of human emotion, joy and sorrow, hope and despair, in a single overwhelming moment of clarity. It was a leap of faith into the unknown, a surrender to the transformative power of the journey itself. Elias and his companions exchanged solemn glances, each silently acknowledging that they had come too far to turn back now. With hearts pounding and spirits alight with anticipation, the travelers stepped onto the bridge. The sensation was unlike any they had known, a feeling of being suspended, not just in space but in time, caught between the tangible world and an infinite realm of possibility. As they moved forward, the light around them shifted subtly, and each step seemed to peel away layers of memory and expectation. In that surreal passage, Elias experienced visions that defied explanation. He saw himself as a child chasing fireflies in a meadow, and as an old man with eyes full of wisdom, each image intermingling with the next in a cascade of vivid emotion. The bridge was a journey through his own soul, a pilgrimage that dissolved the boundaries between past, present, and future. The travelers, too, underwent transformations. Mira's poetic musings found new depth. Rowan's stories took on an almost sacred quality, and even the quiet ones among them discovered a hidden reservoir of courage. They realized that the bridge was not simply a passage to a destination, but a crucible where the essence of their lives was distilled into something pure and luminous. At the far end of the bridge, where the light deepened into a radiant glow, the travelers found themselves standing at the edge of a realm that defied all conventional description. The place was neither a city nor a wilderness, neither a heaven nor an underworld. It was a mosaic of sensations, emotions, and memories that transcended the physical. Here time seemed to lose its meaning. Colors that no palette could capture danced in the air. Sounds emerged that were both haunting and comforting, and every breath filled the heart with a profound sense of belonging. It was as though the place was an accumulation of every moment of beauty and sorrow that had ever been experienced, a living, breathing embodiment of life itself. Elias felt tears welling in his eyes as he took in the indescribable wonder before him. In this place, he realized, the essence of the journey was revealed, not as a destination to be reached, but as a perpetual state of becoming. The road had led him to a threshold where words were inadequate. where understanding could only be felt deep within the soul. The travelers wandered through this realm, each step a meditation on the infinite tapestry of existence. They discovered that here in the heart of the indescribable, every emotion, every memory, every fleeting thought had a place, a unique note in the eternal symphony of life. It was a realm of reconciliation where the past and the present merged into a harmonious dance of light and shadow. Days or perhaps lifetimes passed in the realm beyond description, and the travelers began to understand that their journey had forever altered them. They carried within their hearts the quiet knowledge that the road was not merely a physical path, but an ever-unfolding experience that reshaped the very fabric of who they were. Elias, once a wanderer burdened by the weight of the known, now embraced the mystery of existence with open arms. He realized that the place no one could describe was not an endpoint to be reached, but an invitation to continually explore the infinite depths of the self. His memories of the road, the rustling leaves, the quiet murmur of the wind, the luminous wildflowers, remained etched in his soul, guiding him through every moment of wonder and challenge that lay ahead. The travelers vowed to share the wisdom of their journey, not through words that might limit the boundless beauty they had witnessed, but through the simple act of living fully and embracing the mystery of every new dawn. They returned to their own worlds carrying the echoes of the indescribable realm, a silent reminder that sometimes the most profound truths cannot be captured in language, only felt in the quiet spaces between heartbeats. Years later, long after the travelers had dispersed to their various lives, tales of the road spread like a soft, persistent murmur through communities far and wide. People spoke of a path that shimmered at the edge of memory, a road that promised liberation from the confines of the everyday. It became a symbol of hope and transformation, a reminder that the journey toward the unknown is an intrinsic part of the human experience. Elias, now an elder with a gentle smile and eyes that held the spark of countless adventures, often returned to the outskirts of civilization. There at the break of dawn, he would walk along a familiar stretch of winding road, feeling the echoes of that extraordinary passage ripple through his very being. In each step, he rediscovered fragments of the indescribable, a whisper of a forgotten dream, the echo of a long-lost lullaby, a fleeting moment of pure, unadulterated wonder. For him, and for all who had once dared to follow the call of the unknown, the road remained an ever-present promise. It was a living testament to the idea that some destinations are not confined to a place on a map, but reside within the hearts of those who are brave enough to venture beyond the limits of understanding. In the soft glow of twilight, as the world around us hums with the quiet pulse of life, the road that leads to a place no one can describe remains, a silent invitation to those willing to listen to the whispers of their own souls. It reminds us that the true essence of existence is not found in concrete definitions or rigid boundaries, but in the endless exploration of the spaces between certainty and mystery. The legacy of that road endures in every courageous step taken into the unknown, in every heart that dares to dream beyond the confines of the visible. And so the journey continues, a perpetual odyssey toward a realm of pure, ineffable wonder, where the only limit is the boundless horizon of our own imagination.